Get the hell out of here. Now that we've laid out our theories, taking bets, people, bets. 2 to 1, 2 to 1, 2 to 1. The two of you find your way back to the main hall. Sophia is quiet, but then it's been a bit of an odd morning. Thankfully, you aren't alone together for long before you hear a polite cough. There's a man there, staring at you from just a few feet away. He's a portly fellow, wearing a grey bowler hat with a suit 10 years out of fashion. Excuse me, I'm terribly sorry to interrupt, but I seem to be lost. Can you help me find the exit? You wait for Sophia to respond, but she doesn't. Instead, she pointedly ignores this new interloper. This leaves you in an awkward position. Ignore the fellow as well, or cover for Sophia's rude behavior.
Ooh. I think number 3.
Yeah, I kind of think this is the way to go too.
So the reason I think that is he's staring at you and he didn't ask her, and his suit is 10 years out of fashion, so I don't think he's of this realm.
Yeah, and I think talking to him will alert Sophia in a negative way if he is a ghost or some specter or something. And then, yeah, I think that's the only one that's going to be like sneaky snag. A quick peek into the ether shows you nothing of note. The man isn't present there, which means he's only in the real world. Any problems he might have are mundane, not spiritual, given that you direct him to the exit. Sophia makes an unhappy noise when you do.
You see him?
You frown back at her. Yes, as I've not gone completely blind in the past few minutes.
You shouldn't. He's not real. Not properly. He's some sort of spirit or echo or something. The remnant of a visitor from long ago.
You reach out but feel nothing out of the ordinary. He isn't in the ether, nor does he seem to be with you in this hall. It's almost as if he's beyond the ether entirely, living among the dead. But nothing over there can be seen on this side.
He's an echo, nothing more.
Sophia says.
Someone lost to the house a long time ago.
You can't just drop that and be like, yeah, the house just ate him. At least that's how it comes off to me. What she describes is impossible. There is no third state of being. People are either living or dead. You push her back and walk over to the man. Oh, push her back, damn. Just like, get the hell out of my way, woman. Who stands there watching you with a look of pure confusion. I've tried every door, he says. None of them lead out of this wretched place. Sophia wraps her hand gently around your wrist.
You can't be of any help to him, I assure you. I've tried everything in my power, but they are no longer part of this world.
Interesting. As experienced as she might be with the ghosts that haunt this particular place, Sophia is a layman in every other sense. She doesn't know how strong your connection is to the spirit world. The man is standing there watching you and requires some manner of response. But he seems so normal. Maybe I can banish him from the room. Sophia has the right idea, ignoring him. How very rose red? I don't know if I understand that reference.
Rose Red was a movie, I think. I've seen it.
Oh. Maybe I can banish him from the room.
Last time we tried to banish something, Zell, it didn't go quite well.
What's the worst that can happen?
That's what you said last time.
let's go with the first one, because I think that's the one that's going to be like, you're going to try to examine him, or at least watch him, and maybe that'll give you more information. I think you're right. Banishing might be a little hostile at this particular moment. But I don't want to ignore him. I want to learn something about the realm that we seem to... It seems like we're in like a limbo, essentially. This house is a limbo from like the place that people should go on to, and like from the land of the living kind of thing. So I want to see what's this limbo man. And not limbo isn't like if you would. I think, wait, is it my turn? Your turn? I can't remember.
You shrug. I think it's my turn.
Yeah.
You shrug Sophia's hand off and approach the man. He watches you with a mild expression, seemingly unconcerned. From a few steps away, he certainly looks as real as either of you. He shifts uncomfortably from foot to foot, but doesn't otherwise react to your examination.
What's your name?
You ask. He stares back, unmoved. Sophia just sighs. He isn't listening. They repeat patterns from life, but it's meaningless. As I said, he's only an echo.
They? Just how many of these things wander the halls of Darnacroy?
As you question her, you carefully lay a hand on the man's shoulder. It passes right through him. He must be a lost spirit. That's the only exclamation that can make any sense. But with the Aether as overwhelmingly as it is here, you'd be able to feel his presence. You can't. In the flow of spiritual energy, he is neither a presence nor an absence. He simply doesn't exist. He also doesn't seem the least bit vexed that you just drew your hand through his torso. I can't say how many there are, Sophia replies. Over the course of my lifetime, I've seen at least 2 or 3 dozen. Some recent, like this gentleman, others much, much older. I expect there are more than that, but it's not as though they make it easy to take census of ghosts that flicker in and out of my life, like fragments in my dream.
He's not a ghost, though. Sophia needs to explain these so-called echoes further. It would be a shame to leave him trapped here so close to the exit. Let's put this one to poll, shall we? So the question really comes down to is an echo really a person? That's a very big philosophical question for you. In the context of this book. I think the second one is the most interesting. The line of questioning could lead to like, okay, well, were these people here before, or are they just random echoes from different times, periods, and different places that just pop up into this particular area of the house? Like it could be from like Sweden, like do they speak French or something? I don't know. Or do we try and help the guy? Do. I agree. Are they always like this? So disconnected? You wave a hand before the gentleman's face. For a moment, you think you see a flicker of intelligence in them. Sir, can you hear me? The gentleman doesn't respond, but Sophia does.
Not always. Some I mistake for living guests. Occasionally one will slip away at a gathering, and we'll find them wandering the halls some 3 weeks later or so. They tend to be confused, well cared for, and very happy to finally find their way out. But other times they're not so lucky and they come over like this. It's worse when they're still somewhat cognizant of us. They're always terribly unhappy to be lost.
Just the thought of it makes your heart race. Trapped here, slowly losing all connection with reality. It sounds like a living nightmare. Sophia doesn't seem to realize what a horror she has just described. Maybe it's best for this poor fellow that he's no longer aware of the world around him.
You shouldn't be able to see him, you know.
Sophia says.
Visitors normally can't.
Sophia gives you a worried look.
You should go. Leave now and I'll have your things sent down. Return in a month if you must, after the ball. But don't stay.
That makes no sense. What's Sophia's game here? What if I leave now but return with Dev? We can keep each other safe. Sophia must understand how important it is for me to stay. No one who really wants some psycho ill for you would, like, tell you to piss off, in my opinion. I think we should just kind of talk to her straight up. Be like, okay, seriously, what the hell's going on?
And this isn't the first time we've heard of these balls. Maybe these balls are where people disappear?
Yeah.
And don't come back?
Yeah, I feel like, you know, sketchiness, all the sketchiness in the world. I'm just gonna be like, yo, what's going on? Tell me right meow.
Give it to us straight.
Yeah. And not like what happened up in your dad's office. That's a little creepy. So that's just like just the words are straight, not like straight to the point or straight to the get-go or straight to the Honesty is the best policy. Do it. No, we're not going to do it. Okay. Sophia, just stay back there. You stay over there and tell me the truth. That's what we want. Okay?
In our separate corners.
In our separate corners. Playing. Just playing. Just because I can see something you see as well? That makes very little sense. Is there something here you don't want me to see?
Sophia laughs humorously. Oh, I'm sure there are many things at Darnacroy that you'd be best off not seeing, but no, I want you to leave because I don't understand why you're different, and I don't care for it. This house has surprised me in the past, and that has never been a good thing. I can't guarantee your safety if you remain. Perhaps you can see how that puts me in an untenable position. So yes, you have to leave just because you can see the guests. With a great heave, she opens the door for you. Wait in the courtyard. I'll have Godfrey bring the carriage around. Your options being limited both by etiquette and practicality, you walk out the door.
What? I am not a gentleman.
She's
I'm
like,
a rude
GTFO, bud.
Who grabs her and be like, tell me what's going on, wench. Shit. Anyway. Sorry, just playing. Or try to, at any rate. In actuality, you smack full-bodied into something as solid as the oak of the door itself. Pain bursts up through your knee, damn thing, and you curse as you hop to take weight off of it. You glare up at the door, but it's blameless, hanging open on its hinges, waiting for you to depart. You feel nothing in your way in the ether, so you turn your attention to the nearest target. Oh, damn. Sophia has to be... Wait, maybe people have just keep trickling in here and then they just can't leave. Creepy. Sophia has to be able to help me somehow. How has Sophia trapped me like this, and to what purpose? There must be something wrong with the doorway.
Oh, the house wants you to stay.
Yeah, I'm thinking that's probably the case here. I'm thinking we should probably just go and have a chat with Sophia. Imagine if you're in a carriage and we're like a horse-drawn
oh my gosh,
carriage,
we get smushed,
slowly pressed through this like wall of force, and just
we would get... I feel like it would be a smush, like everything else can pass through it, but we're just gonna like just die, you know, basically, because we can't go through. The carriage will squish us, you know. We're just gonna turn into mush.
Is no buenos. I trust the house. Houses have never done anything evil. Yeah. I say let's go talk to Sophia again. Be like, so, I know you told me to leave, but I physically can't leave.
About that leaving, something doesn't want me to, and I can't.
Because, I mean, to some degree, I would say, figured out by this. How are we going to figure out if we don't talk to her? I mean, we could go talk to what's her name, but... Anyway. It's interesting because I genuinely feel like the characters, or at least the seeming antagonists, flip-flop a lot. Like, they seem like people who like save our lives or are romantically enamored with us and therefore have some kind of vested interest in our safety, and then all of a sudden they're like, you're gonna die and I don't like that in my house, so fuck off. So I'm like, I don't have a clue. You were not around for us when Steph read Rose read to us, cat. No. Alright, we'll just do this one. Your door is broken. That isn't quite the right way of putting it, but you lack the words to explain this particular conundrum. It won't let me through. Better, but still largely meaningless without further explanation. That doesn't seem to matter to Sophia, who opens and then closes her mouth like she had forgotten every word she knows, useful or otherwise. Will you please tell your door to let me through?
Let him through?
Sophia says, though hardly in the most commanding voice. You check carefully this time, but it's no help. The door is still a solid wall so far as you're concerned.
Here,
she says, and grabs your arm with far too much vigor. She steps through the threshold and attempts to pull you behind. The result is as painful as you expect, with the additional benefit of tripping Sophia up on the other side for just a moment. For just a moment, the courtyard wavers and you see a strange, dark world behind her. You hear a strangled gasp from above. Oriana stands at the top of the stairs, watching you struggle.
Lady Reeves!
She calls as she makes her way down.
Has your guest done something to merit ejection from the premises, or are you manhandling him for some other reason?
Sophia releases you like a hot coal. You rub your arm with no little resentment. She needn't have been so rough. Well, we know what she's got anyway. Oriana will know how to help if I can just explain. Oriana has the right of it. Sophia is being a brute. If I let Sophia talk her way out of this, I might just learn something. Let's give this one a pull.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what the best one would be for this one.
Yeah. It's kind of, to me, I feel trapped between like whom to trust. She definitely seems like a spoiled brat, though. Like, just kind of like doesn't really know how to behave in some ways.
I wonder when her father passed. Because it feels like she knows some things, she was taught some things, but she wasn't quite taught everything, and that's why she wanted to reach out to him.
Yeah, could be. All right, 3 has it. If I let Sophia talk her way out of this, I might just learn something. Just make this setting completely the opposite side of the world, different time period. If you would. Or wait, is it my turn? Might be my turn.
I think it's your turn.
Yeah. You wait quietly for the two to talk it out, hoping that they'll make some sense of these circumstances.
It's not what it looks like,
Sophia insists. A curious response from a master to a servant, but these two have a demonstrably unconventional relationship.
He is trapped on this side of the doorway, though by what means I can't imagine. I was just tossing him about for my own pleasure. Or I wasn't just tossing him about for my own pleasure.
Oh, yes. No, I was saying, I was confused too, because I read it that way as well, so like, okay. Her tone slips into the defensive. This isn't the first time she's been accused of rough treatment. Ding! That was me winking. Anyway. Oriana hurries down the stairs. As she gets closer, she looks you up and down with solicitous concern. She brushes your cheek with the touch as gentle as it is unasked for, her eyes widening in surprise. He has not been taken. She looks up at Sophia in alarm. How has this occurred? Sophia just shrugs, shouldering past you back into the room. I don't understand it myself. He saw one of our lingering guests a few minutes ago, and now this. You have attempted to release him? Just how do you propose I do that? Oh, sorry, I keep reading your lines.
It's okay. I was just going with flow.
I think I was just engrossed. Like, I'm actually curious about what happens here.
You're like, ooh.
Ooh, what? Oh, what? It's like hot potato. As enlightening as this conversation is, it is increasingly unpleasant to be spoken of as though you are not in the room. Just then, Loren rejoins you. Reading the room, they hang back, watching you with a worried frown. One of them needs to start making sense. Meow. This is ridiculous. There must be another way out. Loren can explain, since they're the only one paying me any mind. I kind of just want to go for the first one at this point. I'm a gentleman, but once I'm being kidnapped by a house, I'm getting pissed off. What do you think? Grayce and I agree with this.
I think number one.
Yeah. Alright, I'm going to go with it. We're busting this shit down. Can one of you please explain what has been done to me and by whom? I'll let you go.
Oh, okay. You say. They look at each other, both at a loss. It's the house, says Sophia, in the same moment as Oriana says, there is a sort of curse. Sophia snaps her mouth shut, deferring to her servant. Oriana nods in polite acknowledgement. There is a sort of curse on this place. It causes strange things to happen, both to the house and to its inhabitants, particularly to unwelcome visitors, though I would not consider you such. The effects are not so strange as this generally, and yet here we find ourselves. I cannot explain what has become of you specifically, because I have never seen the like. The relevant point is this. You are trapped here. I presume the particulars do not matter to you beyond that? There's something wrong with her voice. It's flat, as though she's bored by this whole situation, as though this were commonplace, but for a few details. You can't make sense of anyone being less than completely alarmed by these things going on. The implications are overwhelming, and you lean back to process them. Sophia watches you queasily. You're leaning on open air. You take a breath, and then another, but they're faster than they ought to be. Your vision swims. God, did you just whimper? Are you going to faint? You dig your fingernails into your palm, dead set against letting your nerves get the better of you. You won't faint. You won't. But it's hard to stop thinking about what's going to happen, about all the mistakes that have led you here, about everything you stand to lose.
Cat. Unwelcome equals can't leave. Because that makes sense. It's like, I don't want you here. Now stay here. Kent's lost, isn't he? He's dead or gone, and I'll never find him. Dev will be out of his mind with worry. My talents and experience will be of little use to me here. You're literally stuck in, like, the best place for medium. Half and half. 1 foot in one. I'm just gonna go with the first one, I think.
I think the first one makes sense.
Yeah.
And we know Dev will come for us after 3 days. It's only been 1 day, so we can calm down.
Yeah. And we can always, like, be here at the threshold and be like, okay, you can't come in because the house will eat your face. But
and if Sophia can leave, she could always send for Dev too.
That's true.
But maybe the house would eat him, and that might be bad. So we should probably have somebody on the outside.
Yeah. Is a good idea. If there were ever a phrase to describe Kent when he latched onto a tale of misused occult forces, unwelcome visitor would be it. He would have found any pretense to make his way into the manor, not unlike yourself, though his methods were never so bold. Once here, he would have tormented the occupants with questions and an utter lack of concern for the privacy of their home. If he was somehow consumed by the cursed, if he became one of those echoes, as Sophia terms them, better that than death, perhaps. It's an awful thought, but it steadies you slightly. There's still some hope you could reach one of those sad lost souls. Not through your usual means, but there might be something, some way to help them. The alternative is much too grim to consider. Right. You can get through this. Breathe slowly. Open your eyes and... Oh, God.
Sophia and Oriana are gone. Lauren stands off to the side, watching you with an anxious look.
Are you quite recovered? I thought you were going to faint. I got the smelling salts and everything. But you seem well enough, aside from the obvious, that is. Are you well?
You slide down into an ungainly heap on the floor. Are you well enough? You didn't faint or suffer any sort of fit. You feel awful and you're trapped, so the situation could certainly be better. On the whole, though, you're intact and you nod wearily.
I need to get out of here. Will you help me?
Lauren kneels down beside you and, tucking a hand beneath your arm, tugs you up to your feet.
I'm to help you with everything I can, and I see no earthly reason not to count an escape among my duties. Sophia will help you too, you'll see. She's just bad at all this, I suppose. But you'll help her get better at it. She'll help you get free, and everything will be right as weather.
Loren's voice is almost brave enough to cover up for the worry you hear beneath it.
And so we reach the end of the chapter.
His last words to us just there kind of let me believe he knows more than he let on, and he's not as confused as he was, or something has clicked.
Yeah, maybe he's the architect of all this nastiness. For all we know. He's the fool. He's the jester who thinks he's the king, or the king who's playing the jester. Which one? I don't know. Stick around next time, and we'll find out. Maybe, I don't know. Next time we'll be reading Brisk Constitutional 8. Chapter 8. That was cool.